Hello, everyone, and welcome to the monthly Oracle Wisdom, where we are going to have a look at the energies of January 2025. That's right, we are at the end of 2024, so it's time to look at the first month of the new year. My name is Natalie Sadie. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, welcome. For the monthly, I like to do it a little differently to how we do the weekly Oracle Wisdom, in that this isn't just one general reading. We are doing pick a pile, and I'm going to show you what differentiates each of the piles, and then it's up to you to take a moment and think about which stone or which pile, which number resonates with you. Make your pick. And then, of course, the timing of each of the piles is in the description below. So, pile number one, we have a piece of granite which came from Rockport, Massachusetts. So, it's just a raw piece of granite. That's pile number one. Pile number two is one of my favorites, my Labradorite owl, who is not, she's not showing her flashes at the moment, but she doesn't always like to show her fire. And pile number three, my orange calcite owl with the tiger's eyes. All right, so take a moment, take a breath, and just think about which pile speaks to you. The raw granite, Labradorite owl. Oh, there we go. We've got some fire. And pile number three, the orange calcite owl. So take a moment, decide which pile or piles are for you, and we are going to get started. So for those of you that picked pile number one, which is the granite all the way from Rockport, Massachusetts, let's take a look. So as always, I shuffle and create each of the piles. I don't look at these cards until we're looking together. So we're starting with the Future Higher Self Oracle, MahrukhX, one of my favorite people that makes cards. So card number one, you have special gifts, never surrender to normal. I've spent a lot of this year talking about how we all have to embrace exactly who we are. We're always so busy trying to fit in with everybody around us. We're trying to feel like we're normal. And the reality is, you didn't come here to be like everybody else. You came here to be exactly who you are. And there's only one of you. And so that's your superpower. So for you in this first month of 2025, do not surrender to being normal. Do not try to be normal. Embrace who you are. Let the world see you, whether that means you're letting your freak flag fly. Freak flag fly. I'm trying to get it out without stumbling. Or just embracing your weird hobbies or doing the things that feed your soul. But it's time to do you. Card number two, you miss the beauty when you miss the beauty when you are stressed. Be gentle with yourself. Be messy sometimes. Let it all go. So I don't know. Have you been feeling like you're holding back because you're worried about what will happen if you don't? The reality is the best things happen when you don't hold back. So in the words of Elsa, let it go. I would sing it for you, but I assure you none of you want to hear that. The other thing is, when you're stressed, you're not in the present, you're not enjoying everything that's around you. And it's one of the most important things that we have to learn in this life, that if we're stressed and we're dealing with anxiety and fear, we're living in the future. When we're dealing with regret, we're living in the past. And so rarely do we actually exist in the present moment. And that's exactly what we need to do. And somebody once said that dogs, we grieve them when we lose them. And this was especially poignant for me when I lost Bumble back in 2023. And they said, we are so upset about the time that we didn't have. But the reality is, dogs don't think about it. They're always in the present. They're always living in that moment. And that's what they have, that's what they're here to teach us. And I think that's so true, that we do need to pay attention to how they live and take that lesson on board, because it is so important for each and every one of us. So maybe that needs to be your New Year's resolution, that you are going to live in the present and stop worrying about what's happened or what may happen, because normally when we're stressing about what may happen, it never does. We always come up with the worst case scenario, and so rarely does that worst case scenario come true. True love will find you in the end. So if you're single, looks like there's something new coming in, maybe you're seeing somebody new, just go with it. Enjoy it. And if you're unhappy in a relationship, maybe it's time to let it go and find something that is more along the lines of what you deserve. Don't stay where it's comfortable because it's what you know. That doesn't always mean it's the best option for you. It's a nice way to start the new year. You're pushing yourself to exhaustion. Enjoy yourself in between all the hard work. There's a very clear message in this reading that you've been working hard, you've been focused on a lot of things, but it's time for you to now take care of you. It's time for you to stop. It doesn't mean you need to stop working. It doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong, but it's time to create space for yourself. It's time to embrace exactly who you are. It's time to live this life and realize that we only get one of them, and we're not here for a very long time. So it's up to you how you live it, and you can live it for everybody else, but that's not what's going to fulfill you. That's not what's going to bring you joy. What is the moment you step into who you are and you embrace her or him, and you do the things that feed your soul, because that will attract the right people into your life, the right opportunities into your world, and the things that will make your life better. And you're the only one that's in control of that. You have intuitive ideas that you really need to act upon. So I feel like there's something that you've been wanting to do or thinking about doing, and maybe you haven't done it, whether that be because of fear or obligation that you feel you have. It's time to take action. 2025, it's a new year. It's a clean slate. It's time to go. And you can do this. You absolutely can. So the next deck that we have is the Mahrukh Butterfly Effect deck. I've pulled 3 of these. So card number 1 is completion. You'll reach some kind of completion, or you're very close, leaving you feeling accomplished and happy. A new chapter will emerge, and you'll once again start the next challenge. I feel like that's confirmation of what I was just saying. Like, you've been working so hard. It's time to start that new chapter. It's time to start that clean slate and just move forward. And I think it's exciting. I love when new things are starting, because it means there's so many possibilities laid out before you, and anything is possible, and you can create anything through all of this. Card number 2 is Soul Tribe. If you've been feeling isolated or with few connections in the world, cheer up. You're about to find your soul companions and form true soul connections, which will be built on trust and love. Again, I see this as confirmation based on what I was saying before, that when you embrace who you are, your tribe will find you. And the hard thing with that, or the difficult thing with that, is that sometimes when you step into who you are and you step into your power and you embrace all of that, there are people that will fall away. And I mean, whenever I talk about stepping into a new part of you or raising your vibration to a certain level, there is the possibility that people fall away, but that happens in life. And not everybody that comes in is meant to stay forever. A reason, a season, or a lifetime was always what I was taught. And I think it's the most perfect way, because I've had people in my life who I thought would be there forever. And one day out of the blue, things fall apart, and it's horrible. But when I look back, I'm not angry at anybody. I'm grateful for the memories that we've created together, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I wish them all the happiness, and I hope that they wish me all the happiness. But we're on different paths, and it's time to move on. So just know that if you, in stepping into who you are and in stepping into a new chapter, if there are people that fall away, it's fine because these people are on their way to find you and fill those gaps. And you will have moments where you sit back and realize why those other people had to fall away. So don't let that derail you or alter you off the path that you need to be on. And the final butterfly effect card is justice. Circumstances are shifting in your favor. The scales are being balanced, and there will be justice for those that have wronged you in the past. Know that you don't need to do anything with this. The universe will take care of it all. And maybe you'll get word and that'll be nice, but it's not anything you need to act upon. Just know that that is being taken care of. So the final card that I pulled for you guys and I pulled for everybody is the Wild Woman Rising, or from the Wild Woman Rising deck. Now, the thing is, I said, give me one card. And I got two. So I left them both in there because I figured if they needed to jump out, you needed to see it. So the first card is Harvest the Honey. Look at that beautiful card. Bees are a sign of prosperity. We can't exist in this world without bees, and they obviously create a beautiful sweet treat, the only food in the world that doesn't ever go bad. So just know that it's harvest time. You've worked hard. This is your moment, and you need to know that. You need to be aware of it, and you need to embrace it. There is nothing wrong with stepping into that space and taking the accolades, taking the wins, and moving forward. Raise your vibration, do what feels good for you, and move on in life, and it's amazing. And the final card is Rest Deep. You have been working so hard. You have been doing so much, and I feel like you've been doing a lot for others. So as you're stepping into this new chapter and as you're coming into your own, give yourself a break. Allow yourself to rest. We are here as souls, but we're living in a human realm and we're living in a human body, and you need to give yourself grace. And you need to, if you need to sleep, sleep. If you need to sit on your couch for a couple of days and rest, do that. Do whatever it is that is going to give you the energy to propel yourself forward as we start this new year. I feel like this is such a positive reading and such a positive place to be and such a perfect way to start the new year. So I'm really excited for those of you that picked this pile, and I hope that 2025 is everything that you could have possibly wished for. Okay, now moving on to pile number 2 for those of you that picked the Labradorite owl. Oh, I love when we get to see the fire in her belly. Okay, so pile number 2, we are starting with the Future Higher Self Oracle. As I tell you each month when I do this, I never look at the cards ahead of time, so I'm seeing all of these for the first time with you. So, card number 1, you're stepping into your highest divine life path. Man, you're ready to soar. This is so exciting. I feel like for a lot of people, they've probably been feeling like you're on the precipice of change. And the reality is you mostly control. I say mostly because I do believe in fate. I believe there are elements of fate that exist in this world. I think that there are moments in time where we are meant to meet certain people, when we are meant to cross paths. Because when you meet these people that there is this ridiculously deep connection with, so often when you go over your timelines, there are all these moments in time where you could have or you did cross paths, but it never quite hits or sticks. And the reason is because you weren't meant to meet them at that moment. But I feel like there are people that have been sort of moving forward and feel like they're close to things shifting and haven't been quite there. But I feel like you guys are right there and ready to go. I say this every time. You cannot make this up. The fact that I don't look at this, I keep the cards turned away from me the entire time while I'm getting ready to do all this. And the way that the cards fall is incredible to me. You will break free from all that no longer serves you. When I say you're on the precipice of this, you guys are right there. You are ready to step away from the people and situations that really aren't serving you because you know you're here for a higher purpose. You know there are other things you're meant to do, and you know there are other places you're meant to be. And the time has come. You're stepping into a brand new chapter. I mean, look at this card. It's literally a rocket launching out of the earth into the atmosphere. I mean, sky's the limit. Whatever is coming for you guys is amazing. Amazing. Okay, let's see what else. Following your heart will lead to the right things. I mean, all of these cards have you essentially flying high in the sky. We're seeing planets and everything all around. So you already know what it is that you're meant to be doing. So you have to trust that. I feel like there's a little bit of doubt or a little bit of fear, and you have to release all of that because all of that will hold you back, and it's time to step forward. The only thing that can stop you is you, because in terms of what's meant to happen, it's you. You're the only one that can throw a hurdle up in the way, and that's because you allow fear or something else to get in the way. Be careful who and what you surround yourself with. So, like I said, you're the only one that can throw a spanner in the works. And one of the ways that you do that, besides fear, anxiety, feeling like you're not ready or you're not capable, is the people around you. And it's really easy to say, well, I can't because of this and I can't because of that. But there are, I've told this story before, but I don't know whether those of you who picked this pile have heard it, so I'm just going to repeat it. When I announced that I was moving over to the US, I had people say, no, you're not going to be able to do it. I couldn't do it. You're not going to be able to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm not you. And who are you to tell me no? So there was all of that. And then when I moved over here, and I mean, I was doing great. I've got all these incredible opportunities and I'm doing things that really bring me joy. But because they were things that these people didn't necessarily see, I had some of them say, so when are you just going to admit that you have to come home? I said, I'm sorry. Why would I come home? I'm having a great time over here. I'm living life. I'm working. I'm meeting people constantly. And they just sort of said, well, no, because you haven't achieved this. And because before I left, I may have said, this is what I would like to achieve. And so because I hadn't achieved those things exactly as I had laid it out, in their mind, it's not working. But the reality is they're not living my life. They don't know what's working for me and what's not. They are not here day to day. They don't see all the opportunities. They don't see what's coming up ahead that I know about and I can't discuss. So I just kind of said, look, you either need to support me or keep your mouth shut, or this isn't going to work. And some of those people are no longer in my life and it makes me sad, but I love them. But it doesn't mean that they're vibrationally in the right space for me and for my life and propelling me forward. So just be aware of those that are maybe not your biggest supporters. Now, let me say, if I announced that I was launching a singing career and people around me started going, well, listen, I don't know if that's going to work, that would be justified concern because I cannot sing. I can't. I have people tell me that they could teach me and that anything's possible. My singing is so bad that I had to sing in front of a Bollywood director one time. I was in a Bollywood film, and we had to lip sync, and it was fine. But in rehearsals, the director, who's massive in Bollywood, said, "I'm going to get you to all sing your lines." And I looked at him, I said, "Mm-mm, you don't want that." And he goes, "Yes, we do." So the other girls do their lines, and then it gets to me, and I sing this line, and he looks at me and his eyes widen, and he said, "Don't ever sing in front of me again." And I said, "I tried to warn you." So you have to be realistic. If you're barking up a tree that is completely ridiculous, you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of what you're doing. But providing you're following your heart and you know what it is you're meant to do, and at a soul level, we do. We know the things that set our souls on fire. And when you chase that, and when you do that, you are able to bring the money in because you're on your soul path. But so you don't want people dragging you down from all of that. However, you don't want to be unrealistic about what it is you're able to achieve. Just playing devil's advocate. So be very careful with that, but also know who loves you and who wants you to succeed and the motives behind whatever it is they're saying or doing. So just keep that in the back of your head. Okay, so then we move on to the butterfly effect deck memories. You may be feeling a bit nostalgic and likely triggered, but know that while you can't go back in time and change the past, you can always change the way you think about it. I think this is especially important when we go through moments of deciding that we need to forgive people, or maybe having a deeper understanding of why certain relationships, whether they be romantic, friendships, family, why they fell apart. And sometimes it's as simple as we didn't know what the other person was going through. So maybe we were not as compassionate as we could have been. Maybe it's somebody wasn't ready for a relationship when we were and they broke our heart. But looking back, you're able to appreciate the times you had together because that experience led to where you are with your new love and who is better than anyone you could have ever imagined being with. So it's things like that. So it's fine to go back. And I hope that if you are going back to things that are painful, you are able to put things into perspective so that rather than certain memories bringing you sadness, they bring you joy. One of my battles over the last almost 2 years, I can't believe it's been almost 2 years since I lost Bumble, was being able to remember him without breaking into tears every time because I miss him so dreadfully. It was he and I against the world. We did everything together. And now I'm in a position where I'm able to have those memories and enjoy him and laugh at the goofy, silly stuff he used to do without it ripping my heart out. There are still moments, but so just keep that in mind when you're going down memory lane. Second card is stability. Stability is on its way. You've done the work. It's time to embrace financial stability in life, and with continued effort, you'll achieve the success you've set your eyes on. So everything that you're working towards, it's all coming together. I mean, financial stability, especially at a time like this, is everything. So just keep working, keep trusting, and know that it's there. So the final card from the butterfly effect is jackpot. At last, you will feel like you have it all: love, success, money, and feeling proud of yourself. You will finally achieve the everlasting happy ending you dreamed of. Now, if that's not a way to start 2025, I don't know what is. I mean, like I said, there are certain things that are fated. Just go with it. But it's time. It's time, and you deserve everything that's coming your way. So, the final card, which I pulled from the Wild Woman Rising deck, is Worship at the Temple. And I feel for me, this card is about one, stepping into nature. If you look at the artwork on the card and you can see all the feathers, the butterflies, the ladybugs, the flowers, just the greenery, all of that. It's about connecting to the universe. And it's with this entire spread, Everything is about your dreams coming true, following your heart and quieting the noise and stepping away from the things that no longer serve you, cutting those ties. All of that is possible. But in order to do that, you need to be able to be still and grounded within yourself. And part of that is, for me, the best way to do that is through meditation and through grounding. So going outside, if you live somewhere by the ocean, going and putting your feet in the water. I know that it's cold, but the ions in that moving water is just everything. Go and stand on grass. Go, if it's too cold for that and you've got to keep shoes on your feet, because I know in certain parts of the US especially, it's snowing. Go and put your hands on a tree for 10 minutes and just breathe. Make your breathing deep and even and keep your hands on the tree. Make sure you connect. When you are able to still everything within yourself and calm your mind, you are then able to step forward and do the things that you need to do. And it's also easier to hear your heart and your inner voice guiding you, telling you where you need to go. So make sure you do that, because it's an important time where you have the possibility of having everything that you have wished for, everything that you've desired, everything that you've been working towards before you. And like I've said several times in this, and clearly this is a big message, you're the only one that can get in the way of this. So this is why this card is so important. I'm really excited for all of you that picked pile number 2. I feel like this is an incredible way to start off 2025. And I hope that you're able to embrace every single good thing that is coming your way. And finally, for those of you that picked pile number 3 with the orange calcite owl, I love this little owl. We are going to get into it. So we are starting with the future higher self oracle. I always get tongue tied on this. Now, for everybody, for each of the piles, I asked the deck to give me 5 cards. I don't know how many cards I pulled from this deck for you, because at the very end, I think I've just got 1 extra card. They jumped out. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take it, whatever the cards are telling us. So the first card is balance all dimensions of your life. So have you been living in a way that is out of balance, whether it be too much work, not enough work, taking it too easy? I mean, our lives can be out of balance in so many different ways, but it's time, as we start this new year, that you bring all of that into alignment and back into balance. So the second card is new chapters require a new version of you. So I don't know, obviously, what's been going on, but it is time to, it's time to balance, it's time to focus, and it's time to step forward in a way that maybe you haven't in recent times. And it could be just that the balancing dimensions of your life is enough to alter the version of you that you use to step into the new year, but you need to shift something. Could be fitness, could be work, could be just, even your bedtime routine. Maybe you go to bed a little bit earlier and you read every day, just something along those lines. But sometimes when you want to change the way your life is playing out, you're the one that has to change. It's the only thing you have control of. So it's time to shift all of that. Okay, so the next card is uproot your life and leave all that is familiar to you. So clearly, whatever you've had going on, it is time for change. I mean, a new chapter requires a new version of you. Uproot your life and leave all that is familiar to you. I mean, change is in the air, apparently. So the next card is give yourself some credit for how far you've come. Okay, so this is letting you know that it's not that you've done anything wrong, you haven't done anything bad, but it's just time for a new chapter. And you should be really proud of everything that you've achieved. It's made you the human that you are. It's helped you achieve all these different goals and things that have been going on. So you need to give yourself credit, but that doesn't alter the fact that there is a shift that needs to happen. So the next card is be patient, trust the wait, everything is coming together. So I feel like there is uncertainty as we come into 2025, but the universe always has your back and timing is everything. And sometimes the universe doesn't give us things when we want it. The universe gives us things when we need it. So trust that it is all coming together. One of my favorites, one of my favorite sayings, forgiveness sets you free. It keeps you from hanging on to what was never meant to be. So I'm not sure if you've been carrying anger towards somebody or a situation, but this has been the topic of forgiveness has been coming up a lot recently. And it took me a lot of years to learn this because I am someone that in the past could hold a grudge for a very long time. The reality is when you're carrying anger towards somebody, you're not hurting that person. That person's off living their life and doing their thing. What it's doing is ruining your life. It's a weight that you're carrying around and unnecessarily so. And maybe this is part of balancing your life and also the new chapter in that learning to forgive people. And look, sometimes good people do really shitty things. And it's not that they mean to, but it might be a matter of that's all they're capable of at this moment or that moment in time, whenever this thing happened, whenever it was that they hurt you or how they hurt you. It may be something that was going on for them that you had no idea about that triggered this. It may be their understanding of how something happened. It could be that they were triggered from something long ago that you know nothing of, and maybe they weren't even aware of it. I'm not making excuses for people, but what I'm trying to explain is that we don't know what goes on in somebody else's head. Perception is reality because people perceive things certain ways. And so for them, that's their reality. But somebody else involved in the same situation may see something completely differently. No matter what it is, you carrying that anger, you carrying that grudge is only hurting you. So it's time to set yourself free. And some people don't like that because it feels like you're giving that other person a pass. And it's not. It's not at all. It's time for you to be free of that anger and resentment and hurt and be able to truly step forward into the fullness of the life that you deserve. And I feel like there is big change coming in, which is super exciting because it means that when change comes in and things sort of ramp up for you, it's a whole new adventure to go on. And change can be super scary. I understand. But sometimes it's exactly what we need to live this life to the fullest. So embrace it all. We're moving on to the butterfly effect cards. And the first one is breakthrough. There's an unexpected breakthrough happening in some area of your life. Fated events, unexpected messages, shocking love developments. I mean, anything could happen. And I love that breakthrough comes through after the forgiveness card. So here's the thing. These are the last two cards that jumped out because I never look at the cards before I sit down and do these readings. Whenever I'm pulling the cards, everything is face down and I see them for the first time with all of you. This card, the forgiveness card, this had to come through. That was why when the cards jumped out, I went, okay, that's what we're doing. But that's clearly a message. And then this is the very next card that was pulled, which is breakthrough. So whatever it is that you're hanging on to, it's time to let go and just remember anything is possible. So the next card is ancestors. Your ancestors are rooting for your success as they watch you break ancestral karma. One step at a time, more gets cleared and more growth sinks in. So for those that watch High Vibe, and I think I talked about it on the Weekly Oracle Wisdom last week, I have been talking about a lot of the healing journey that I've been on this past month. It started at the very beginning of December. And for me, it's about clearing a lot of this ancestral trauma and clearing that ancestral lineage so that if I ever do have children, it doesn't get passed on. But when you break those karmic cycles that come through our lineage, they it clears things up for you, but it also works. It's like that ripple effect that goes through when you throw a rock in a pond. It will affect those family members and the people around you. So it's often hard on those of us that choose to do the work or were put on this earth to do that work. But I think it's an incredible opportunity for our personal soul's growth and also to help those not only in our lineage, but our friends and family that are close to us and around us and that are encountering us every day or frequently, depending on how close we are. All of that makes a difference. So it's a big job that you have, but it's so incredibly important. And I mean, you can choose not to do the work. That's totally your call. But then it means you have to live this life and keep going through the same cycles. And you have the opportunity and you have the ability to break those cycles and create an even better life than the one you already have. And the final card from the Butterfly Effect deck is patience. You've put in the work and now you're waiting to reap the benefits. Keep believing that your season is coming. The good you have put out in your life will manifest. There's no need to rush it. So it's all coming together, and you need to have patience with yourself. You also need to have patience with those around you, because as you're doing this deep work and this powerful work, not everyone around you is going to be able to match that energy, and that's okay. Sometimes those of us that are light workers need to do the work and shoulder that burden and that extra weight to help those around us. And it can be difficult, so have patience with those people, have patience with yourself, and have patience with the timing of things. I say this as one of the most impatient people that has ever walked the face of the earth. Patience has been one of my lessons, and can I tell you, there are so many moments when the universe decides to test me and says, we're going to give it to you, but we are going to make you wait, and it's going to be excruciating. And you know what? I think I finally started to learn that lesson, and I am finally in a place where I just go, okay, it'll happen when it's meant to happen. Trust the process, trust the timing. So then the final card, which I pulled from the Wild Woman Rising deck, I love this deck. Embrace the internal mother. To me, this goes back to the your ancestors rooting for your success and rooting for those karmic cycles to be cleared up and breaking that ancestral karma. Just know that you are supported in the most incredible way, and they are rooting and cheering you on. And you wouldn't have been given this task if you weren't capable of it. So know that you have those connections, not only here on earth, but on the other side. And it's time for you to dig deep. But what a powerful, powerful way to kick off 2025. I wish you all the best. I'm going to be here with you each and every week for the weekly Oracle Wisdom. And of course, each month I'll come back and do another pick a pile for you all. So I hope this reading gives you clarity. I hope it gives you some strength and something to sort of refer back to if you need to in those moments where things are a little bit difficult, because you are capable of so much and you are so incredibly powerful, and I know you can do this. So here's to 2025. I hope that you all had a wonderful 2024, and if not, here's to a better 2025. I know that the astrology throughout 2025 is going to be wild, but I'm also a big believer that we can transcend those tough placements. I've just come out of a 2-year Neptune thing, sitting on my midheaven and hitting my Mars directly, all of that. And to finally be through that. I'm proof that you can survive all of these things and it doesn't need to be terrible. It just makes life exciting and a bit of a journey, and we just have to embrace that as much as we possibly can. So, thank you for everyone that supports me, that has watched this. Please make sure you comment below. Tell me what pile you picked and if the reading resonated. I always like to get feedback. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things. And I will see you next month for February's forecast. All right, guys, have a wonderful and safe New Year's Eve.